Okay, so a few minutes ago, I'm sure it seems like just a second ago to you. You go and you click here and then you click there. But in my world, a few minutes ago, I was talking about genetically modified organisms and how this has led to the Green Revolution. And I'd said that, you can, one of the things that you can do is you can genetically modify a cow with the extra cow growth hormones, or fish with extra fish growth hormones, and they'll grow faster. And yes, it is genetic modifications, but it's still a fish. It just has a different number of those genes. Well, what's happened is it's kind of like genetic engineering on steroids. What's happened is people have gotten these wacky ideas to produce what they call transgenic organisms. Now, what is a transgenic organism? It's an organism with a gene from another species. And so we've sort of gone to the next level with these GMOs. And I have a couple of examples. There is a bacterium called Bacillus thuringiensis. Thuringiensis. Okay, it's a mouthful. So they just call it BT. Bacillus thuringiensis. Okay, I'm not going to say it anymore. But now, what is this? This is a bacteria that produces toxins. I don't know, maybe it's a pathogen on butterflies and beetles. And so when the butterfly or the beetle catches its death of BT, it's killed because of this toxin it's produced. Well, people got this wonderful or crazy idea. What if we take that gene that makes a pesticide? That's what a pesticide is, right? It's a toxin. What if we take that gene that makes a pesticide and put it in a potato or a tomato or some other vegetable? Then the vegetable makes its own pesticide. And they've done that. And so the BT gene is a gene that has been introduced into vegetables. And guess what? When you eat that potato or you eat that tomato, you are eating the toxin as well. It's there, and it does. Bugs try to eat the tomato and they croak. They die. It's there. So the question is, when have we gone too far? And that is truly the question. And I can guarantee you can talk to any number of different people. Some of them would say, oh, can't even stand that they've added cow growth hormones to cows. Here we're talking about a bacterial gene that's been put into vegetables that you and I are eating. And so at some point people say, wait a minute, this has gone too far. And I'm not saying this is there. This is an individual decision. Another example, I lived in West Tennessee, and that's an area where they grow a lot of cotton. And cotton is one of these plants that requires a lot of fertilizer, a lot of care, and it requires, in order to get it to grow up and produce the cotton, you don't want it to be competing. And so someone found that there's this pesticide that has now been shown to cause cancer in humans. So I'm not an advocate of Roundup at all, but there is a pesticide called Roundup, and it's a herbicide. It kills plants. If you have weeds, you go spray it on the weed, and that weed will die, unless it's this cotton that has a gene from a resistant weed. So what's happened is you sprayed all this Roundup on weeds, and eventually there are some individuals within that population that were able to survive. And they looked at him and they said, how are they able to survive? And then they'd say, oh, it's this gene right here. Let's put it in cotton. So what do? You've got a field of cotton, And I talked about those airplanes spraying the pesticide. They come flying over the top, spraying Roundup, kills all of the plants down there that aren't the resistant cotton, and exposes all these others. That, because an airplane flying and spraying isn't going to be hitting exactly where it belongs. And I used to worry about how much of that, whatever it is they're spraying, it's not like it says on the airplane, how much of that am I getting on me and in me as well. So these are all considerations when we talk about genetically modified organisms. And how many genetically modified organisms are out there? Oh my God, look at your packet. Look at this graph here. It's thousands and thousands of GMO approvals every year. So if we look at this, we can see many, many years in a row, look at your graph, of over 1,000 genetically modified organisms that have been approved every year. So unless you are really working at it, we're all exposed to GMOs, whether we want to be or not. Okay. The next, and I think the final topic we're going to talk about is sustainable farming. How to get away from all of this craziness like this. That's crazy. We'll talk about it.